welcome to Legendary Africa, your African Myths and Legends podcast. Today on the show, I am dying.
And I am freezing.
Officially, I woke up this morning and just felt super dizzy, weak, nauseous, like the whole thing. So, jury's out on whether it's COVID, but
I'm going for period.
yeah, COVID or menstruation, who knows? Or pregnancy. Hi, Mom!
All three have similar symptoms.
Speaking of pregnancy, this is our Father's Day episode.
That's a great way to get into it. Yes, happy Father's Day, or yesterday, to all the fathers and father figures out there.
Yeah, we hope that you got spoiled by your kids, that you were reminded of how valuable you are, and that you just generally enjoyed the day. I wanted to actually give a particular shout out to two types of people. One, single mothers who have to navigate the difficulties of Father's Day and, what that might mean for their kids who could feel left out on that kind of occasion, stuff like that. I imagine that's not easy, and well done to those moms who are struggling on with those things. Yeah. Or not struggling, who knows.
Conquering.
And also to single dads. Never easy being a single parent, I suppose. And also, I feel as though society tends to have more confidence in single mothers than single fathers.
Yeah, people definitely don't pay attention enough, I feel, to single fathers and actually how hard they have to work.
Yeah, and there's those misconceptions of how, dads don't have natural nurturing instincts, blah, 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 they can't take care of kids. It's bullcrap. If you're a single dad, kudos to you, and I'm sure you're a fabulous parent and you're raising the next president of the world.
All right.
So, I have some good news.
Mm-hmm.
We have recently acquired listeners from another African country besides South Africa.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, super excited to have listeners in Kenya.
Okay.
We're not exactly sure who you are, but we're really happy that you're here. And we're really hoping to attract attention from other African countries as well.
Yeah, come through.
But besides that, I'm super grateful for our listeners in the US, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Canada, Germany, Ireland, Czechia, I hope I'm saying that right, Sweden, Russia, Kenya, and Argentina.
Russia, cool.
Yeah. That's my brother-in-law. I actually know exactly who that is.
Still valued. He's just like the less than 1% that's coming up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we have all of one listener. Or not, who knows?
Yeah, true.
So you got news?
So for today's weather segment...
Oh, right.
I actually have a photo here from our mother who sent us a very useful weather forecasting stone.
This is going on Instagram, I assume.
Oh, yes, of course. But essentially, so apparently we need to hang up a stone, and if the stone is wet, then it's forecasting rain. If it's swinging, then it's windy. If you can't see the stone, then it's foggy. And if the stone is gone, well, there's a tornado. So, I don't have a stone, but it's still cold.
This will make more sense when you see the picture, I swear.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely... It's a great picture, you need to see
People are like, what the fuck is she talking about?
If you don't know the Great Stone, who even are you?
Or maybe you're stoned.
Possibly.
And, you have something else?
Continue.
In other unrelated news, hedgehogs make sheep want to bonk each other.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. That's normal.
So this is a story that my fiancé, who is Maasai, told me about a belief in Maasai culture that apparently if you see a hedgehog in your sheep herd, or whatever you call a group of sheep. Flock? A flock of sheep?
A flock of birds.
Who knows? Anyway, if you see a hedgehog among your sheep, it's a good sign because it means that the sheep are going to get it on and you're going to have some great sheep offspring, little lambs.
Do you suppose the hedgehogs sort of give off some sort of aroma?
Pheromones.
That, encourages...
procreation?
Yeah, sheep to, get funky.
I don't know. Possibly. Or maybe it's just kind of like a support animal.
They feel safer knowing that little prickly guy is down there doing his best.
Just encouraging, shouting things like, yeah, you can do it, you're the ram.
Oh god. It's just got more disturbing as you told it.
So, unsure yet as to whether hedgehogs have this effect on other animals, So next time you're looking to spice things up in the bedroom, try bringing in a hedgehog.
Bring in your kid's pet hedgehog.
This has been your love segment. Also exciting, I saw a Disney trailer for Hamilton on YouTube.
A Disney trailer? Disney?
Yeah, they're with Disney now. Or it's being produced by Disney or something like that.
Disney owns everything.
Did you know Disney has National Geographic? I think it owns National
It
Geographic.
owns everything.
Yeah, what the hell? Disney owns you.
Yeah, no, they do. They own Walmart.
Mickey has gone so commercial.
Show.
I mean, do you know, Mickey is technically part of the Marvel universe now.
Oh yeah, no. He is a king and everything.
Just as Doctor Doom is part of the Disney universe. He's a prince, okay? So yeah, Hamilton with the original Broadway cast streaming on July 3rd. Don't miss it. I mean, obviously you're a Hamilton fan or else get out of my life. But
is it only on like the Disney Channel though or something? Or like what's it called, Disney Plus?
To be honest, it didn't actually say where it was streaming.
Just streaming in your mind.
It was just like July 3.
You'll find us. You find us.
Yeah, I mean, there's that thing called Google. I think, you know, Disney assumes you've heard of it.
I mean, clearly you didn't use it.
But yeah, super excited about that. I'm pretty sure, you know, the 99.9% of the population that has never seen Hamilton and will probably never see it with the original cast is excited.
Imagine if they do like an animated Disney Channel series.
Oh, of Hamilton?
Of Hamilton. And then they get like the original cast to voice act.
That's amazing. For some reason, I imagine them drawing Hamilton with a really large nose, like an outlandishly large nose.
I'm with you.
Not sure where that comes from.
I don't know how they'd make that child friendly.
You're with me, but the situation is fraught. You better be carefully taught, or you're gonna get.
Okay, but only in Donald Duck's voice.
I'm with you.
I can't do it. I can't. I know, maybe just Mickey Mouse's.
I'm with you. But the situation is fraught. You better be carefully taught or you're gonna get shot.
Anyway. True fan over here, apparently.
So, what else is new with you?
Oh, you know, I started, it's gonna be about Handmaid's Tale, of course.
You still can't
I
say
still can't say it.
Handmaid's
I'm just
Tale.
gonna say HMT from now on. I started season 3. And I could not be more shook. Like, I know I said I was shook at the last episode.
Yeah.
This is on a whole new level.
I have to say, this show is totally on its own tier, just for the fact that it can consistently produce quality in every single episode. You know, like how in other shows, there's always that 1 or 2 episodes in the season where you're like, ugh, that was lame.
Yeah.
But then with Handmaid's Tale, it's just every single one hits home.
Yeah, I mean, there's never a dull moment in any of the episodes. Like, I can't say there's an episode where I was like, well, okay, that was kind of like a filler episode. They don't have those. Every single episode has something that makes you just go, what the fuck just happened?
So are you going to recap the finale of season 2 for me?
It's too much to recap, hey, but basically...
Okay, just give me the highlights.
Okay, so basically, June's newborn baby was taken out of Gilead and into Canada.
Nice.
Along with Emily, who is... do you know Emily?
So she was previously off Glenn, and then she was off Joseph, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. She was sent to the colonies and brought
she
back.
She is the guy who drove over a Guardian with her car, I think.
Yeah, that was really fun.
The most iconic moment.
She drove over him, then she drove back over him, and then she just started giggling hysterically.
It's just, I imagine that scene in my head, and then that voice from Halo Reach just being like,
Kilimanjaro. Killtrocity. Overkill.
Yeah. So she managed to take the baby out into Canada, and now she's gonna get in contact with her wife and her own child. That was really hectic. But June stayed behind because she still wants to get her other daughter out, Hannah. So it's just a whole thing because Serena, who is the wife who was in charge of her, she actually let June go and allowed her to take the baby to Canada.
Yeah, that was quite a twist.
Yeah, she realized that Gilead sucks.
Took her long enough.
She had to get beaten and got like a finger cut off before she realized that.
But what actually persuaded her to do this whole Bible reading thing in the first place? Because I thought she was quite down with the not reading thing.
She was. So what happened was that Nick, who is a guardian and like June's lover, kind of also the father of her newest baby, he was supposed to get married to this girl called Eden, and she was lonely because Nick didn't like her and she had an affair, blah blah. She was killed.
Oh wow.
Oh sorry, yeah, that happened. She was killed because she had an affair with another guardian.
Oh, who found her out? Not, I don't suppose Nick ratted her out.
No,
did he?
well, he didn't want to, but she had run away.
Oh shit.
And in order to protect the Waterford family and the baby and everything, he had to say, like, what he suspects she did.
Oh damn.
So she was convicted and murdered by drowning in a swimming pool with a ball and chain.
Oh.
Yeah, her and her lover. So June found a Bible belonging to Eden, and she had clearly read and written notes in it.
Oh shit.
And she showed it to Serena, and that kind of made Serena think about what was going on, because Eden was supposed to be a very religious child.
Yeah.
And so it kind of struck her that all Eden was trying to do was learn the word of God, which they're apparently supposed to be following, but how are they supposed to follow it when they can't read it?
Yeah, it's such a total regression, because if you think about it, right, the whole idea of the word of God, as proposed by the Bible, being available to, in quotes, the common man, came about like with Lutheranism.
Yeah.
Ages ago. I mean, seriously, are we really going back to the medieval?
Right? It honestly feels like it in the way that they conduct themselves. So she decided to approach the Gilead Council to ask them to allow women to learn and read the Bible, just the Bible. She didn't ask to read anything else. And so she got her finger cut off for her efforts.
Oh, well, the council was like...
They were like, cool, good story. And then they told her to leave, and then she was dragged away by guardians and got her fingers chopped off.
Amazing that she thought that was going to work, to be honest.
She's surprisingly naive. She really didn't even think that her husband would let that happen, but he was just like, thank us. Like, what am I supposed to do? So yeah, that's why she decided to get her daughter out of there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that finally that's going to happen. I did tell you a few nights ago my prediction for the end of Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, what was it again?
But yeah, I decided to tell her on the podcast. I personally think that at some point the news is going to be leaked that it's actually the commanders that are sterile in Gilead and not the wives.
Mm.
And that this is really going to fracture the entire social system. The wives are going to unite with handmaids and possibly even with martyrs and things like that to overthrow the system, because they'll be so angry that they've been kind of duped and shamed all this time. And that they will effectively crush the much smaller population of men.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way for it to end. They would have to get assistance from rogue guardians in terms of firepower, because otherwise they don't have much in the way. That being said, they have a bunch of chemists working with them who are making bombs.
Yeah, I just feel that in some cases sheer numbers can overwhelm an army, even a well-armed army. And they really have to just raid a few arsenals, grab some assault rifles, and there we go.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can take it off from the heads, get all the main leaders killed. Or,
I was about to say.
Actually, most of these people are just following orders.
Yeah, I mean, if each wife individually takes it upon herself to, subtly kill her husband, that'll actually dismantle the entire, upper tier of command. All right, well, that's probably enough for Handmaid's Tale. If you don't enjoy this show, I'm so sorry, because...
You're probably just like, oh boy.
The last 5 minutes of your life are just a deep black hole. So let's get on to the stories. We have special father-themed stories today, so excited about that.
Whose turn is it?
It's yours.
It's my turn. Alright, so I'm going to talk about a myth from the Yoruba people of Nigeria called Ogbe Baba Akinyelure.
What? Say it again.
Ogbe Baba Akinyelure.
Okay.
So, a little bit of history. Well, not a little bit, there's actually quite a bit I have on the Yoruba people. So, fascinatingly enough, evidence of human existence in the area now known as Nigeria dates to about 40,000 years ago. That's about 38,000 BC, which kind of just... I'm not entirely sure how to think about that. That's way too long ago.
I feel like I told you that in the Bayajida episode.
Probably. I think I remember history. I was actually just saying the other day, that was like, people told me about dates, I'm just like... I never remember them.
In case you're wondering, Bayajida, the hero that founded one of the Nigerian clans, in episode 3, Hairy Fairies Give Us Fire.
It's all a great name. So the Yoruba people themselves are an ethnic group who originate largely from West Africa, specifically Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and parts of Ghana. They're actually one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. So the history of the Yoruba people begin with the Ile-Ife, I hope I'm saying that right, kingdom, which was established by Oduduwa, a divine king of the Yoruba people. The myth actually goes that Olodumare, king of heaven, ordered another divine being called Obatala to go down to Ife and establish a kingdom there. However, Obatala was distracted along the way and became drunk on palm wine. So Oduduwa then took over the mission and became the father of the Yoruba people.
Wow, dude, you had one job.
He was like,
But what if we get wasted?
It is believed, however, by most scholars that Oduduwa and Obatala were actually real people, normal humans, that were then given divine status, so still caught some sort of significant importance to the founding of the kingdom.
Come through, Moses.
Actually, so this is another throwback to the Bayajida episode.
Told you.
Due to later Islamic influences, it was also thought that Oduduwa, like the Bayajida legend, was said to be an eastern prince whose people were driven out of their kingdom in Mecca to present-day southwestern Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
So the Ile-Ife kingdom was a prosperous economical hub, but from the 15th century began to decline as the kingdoms of Benin and Oyo began to rise. I think I mentioned both of those relatively recently.
Yeah.
By the 1800s, Ile-Ife kingdom was basically destroyed.
Ouch.
So the Oyo Empire was one of the younger kingdoms in Yoruba history, but is considered to have been the strongest. It was said to have been founded by Oranmiyan, one of the youngest grandsons of Oduduwa, so they're also claiming divine heritage. By the 18th century, the capital city of the kingdom, Katunga, was the rich and powerful center of the empire, and they conquered armies belonging to the Ashanti people, as well as armies in Benin. The Oyo Empire also began trading with European merchants, and during the 18th and 19th century, they participated in the slave trade, both locally and internationally. So they not only gave slaves to Europeans, they also employed slaves in their area.
This is the Ashanti.
And no, the Oyo Empire.
Oh, right, okay.
So they used them for labor locally as well.
Mm-hmm.
By the 19th century, the kingdom began to collapse, most likely from civil war. And by 1835, the capital of the empire was deserted. Then by 1892, the British had successfully attacked the Yoruba people and settled in Lagos, a main city in Nigeria. And Nigeria was formally colonized in 1901. By 1960, Nigeria gained independence, but has been embroiled in civil wars and political coups since then, which actually resulted in 4 consecutive republics of Nigeria.
Interesting.
They're in the 4th Republic right now. So that's just a little bit of history. The myth itself is really short. It goes that Ogbe was a warrior renowned for his great skill in combat. Only the strongest warriors faced him on the battlegrounds. Due to his reputation, Ogbe had many wives and numerous children, but his favorite among them was his son, Akinyelure. Ogbe doted on the boy and was so fond of him that he renamed himself Ogbe Baba Akinyelure, Ogbe, father of Akinyelure. Which I thought was really cute because usually you're named after your parents.
Yeah, actually my first thought was like, sucks to be the other kids, but...
I mean, like, I feel like at this point they're just like, oh yeah, there's Dad's favorite son. So for a while, Ogbe and the other warriors were at peace. They spent many days relaxing with their families and many nights drinking palm wine, like someone else we know. But it didn't last long. A messenger soon arrived with news that an army was on its way to invade. The warriors instantly sprung into action, organizing themselves and preparing for battle. Ogbe as well, but he was interrupted by his son. Akinyelure asked him to allow him to join in the battle, and although Ogbe was reluctant, he eventually agreed, as long as his son stayed by his side at all times. As the battle progressed, however, Ogbe lost sight of his son in the dust and bloody heat of battle. He could not find him no matter how much he searched, and the constant waves of enemies didn't allow him to search for him. Eventually the enemy fled, and Ogbe found his son. Akinyelure's dead body lay before him.
Oh, man.
Sorry, this is a sad story. Ogwe was beside himself with grief and refused to return home with the other warriors. He was overcome with guilt for having let his son die, because, he said he was allowed to come out to battle as long as he stayed with them.
Mm-hmm.
So he felt like he let him down. He stood there in that one spot on the battleground for so long that he eventually transformed into an Iroko tree. And sacrifices are still made at the foot of a Iroko tree to honor Ogbe's memory and his eternal devotion to his son.
Oh, he stood so long he turned into a tree?
Mm-hmm. That happens.
That's a thing that could happen.
Yeah, you should try it sometime. You just eventually become, the roots.
I'm sorry.
Surround your feet.
I shouldn't laugh. It's very sad. He just stood there and
He stood there so long.
mourned his son and forgot that he's also a dad of other kids that need their father.
Like, they'll go on without me.
But I can't go on without a Kijilure.
Yeah, his other children will probably like, really? Cool. And he just left without saying who's going to be, the next head of the family.
I guess they can kill each other off and then find out.
Or maybe their wives are just going to take over. So yeah, that was a short but kind of sad story. My sources were A History of the Yoruba People by, I'm going to attempt to say this name, Stephen Adebanji Akintoye, who is a Nigerian-born academic, historian and writer, and is actually one of the current leading scholars on the history of the Yoruba people. African Mythology, A to Z by Patricia Ann Lynch and Jeremy Roberts, and of course Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. Sad story. Very poignant.
Yeah,
But
not exactly the greatest story for Father's Day. The moral is, if you lose a child, just sort of become a tree.
It's interesting, this idea of people transforming into trees. Pops up a lot in Greek mythology as well.
I was actually just thinking about that when I was researching it, that I think I told you about this couple that loved each other so much that they wanted to die together. And so the gods turned them both into trees.
Yes, I remember that story. Yeah, that was kind of, I don't know. Sentimental fools.
I think it's the whole thing of returning to nature, I suppose.
You return to nature when you die, ho.
I mean, they did die. It's just that the return to nature was much faster than usual.
Apologies for all the cars going by. This is kind of a popular time of the afternoon for traffic. Okay, well, thanks. That was that was interesting.
That was so sad.
Put me in a grim mood.
I hope you have something happier.
Not necessarily happy, but more adventurous, perhaps.
Okay.
We're going to go to our promo break, and then I'm going to tell you a story from the Nyanga people of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Awesome.
Today's promo shout out goes out to a brilliant podcast called Terminal 234. Terminal 234 is a podcast that connects pop culture musing with relevant life synchronicities. Every episode features a no-frills, stimulated conversation which juxtaposes opposite sex, first-generation Nigerian Americans against the backdrop of current events. We discuss music, politics, media, trends, current events, and the world at large from a distinctive perspective. Terminal 234 is driven to shed light on the marginalized perspectives emanating from the African diaspora. So check that out on Apple Podcasts, on Radio Public, and pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. So those who listened to last week's episode, Beware of the Rainforest Spirits, will remember my really brief introduction to the Democratic Republic of Congo and a specific ethnic group called the Mongo. Today, I'm not straying far geographically speaking. In fact, we're traveling just a little east to the tip of the East African Rift Valley to bring you the Mwindo epic. That's, sorry, I think I said that kind of weirdly. It's Mwindo.
Mwindo.
Kind of, but more like Mwindo.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Mwindo.
Mwindo. Okay.
Right, so finally got that right. Now, this story is the national karisi of the Nyanga people. A karisi is a type of epic poem told in a spoken or performance style by the Nyanga, a tribe of people native to the Kivu region of DRC, and if I'm not much mistaken, around 100,000 strong in number.
I love epic poems.
Yeah, I thought that as a Homer researcher, you would appreciate this. And, not often we see an epic poem coming out of Africa, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I'm not going to read the entire Mwindo epic, because, as you might imagine, it is epically long. I'm just going to pick out the parts that relate to his father.
Okay.
So, the Mwindo epic is probably the most well-known example of a karisi, and it is one of those designed to be performed before an audience. The epic is performed mostly by one storyteller who accompanies his tale with a calabash rattle, bells, and other noisemaker instruments or adornments. The storyteller incorporates dance into his tale, as well as acts out the story, sometimes throwing in a little of his own personal mythology or experience. The audience is integral to the performance, since audience members are encouraged to sing along, provide praise and applause, and sometimes like a kind of call and response thing.
Okay, so it's quite interactive.
Yeah, which kind of fits with a lot of performance art in various African cultures. So, this is a little bit of a disclaimer before we start. If you were planning on playing this episode to your dad as a token of appreciation, you might want to reconsider, since the father in this tale is actually a grade A dick.
Oh no.
So I guess happy stick it to your stupid ass Father's Day.
This is a story for how fathers should not behave.
Yeah, this is for all those on Father's Day who are just like, fuck you, man. Thanks for never being there for me. Anyway, our story begins with the birth of our hero, Mwindo. Now, at this time, a chief named Mwindo rules over the Tubondo village, and from the beginning, it's clear that he is 10 kinds of fucking psycho, because he just straight up decrees that none of his 7 wives should bear him anything but daughters, or else suffer the execution of both mother and son.
And who the fuck's fault is that?
Yeah, like, exactly. I don't know if they had a god of genetic engineering in Tubondo, because otherwise this man's knowledge of reproductive biology really disturbs me. I mean, he understands that they're not crocodiles, right? Like, you can't just regulate the temperature of the eggs and then produce the gender that you want. It's just like, woohoo, voila, a baby girl. Now, the reason Mwindo didn't want a boy is that by tradition, in the negotiation of a marriage, the man's family, or the prospective husband's family, pays the bride price to...
so he wanted all the money.
Right.
Gotcha. Whereas you don't want to pay the money.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in South Africa, that's actually commonly known as lobola, and it's often paid in terms of cattle or crops or land, something that constitutes wealth. So Mwindo's desire for daughters was really a kind of self-enrichment scheme, kind of a get-rich-quick in 9 months and, 18 years. But obviously this whole strategy of cooking up baby girls was not going to last long, and sure enough, one of Mwindo's wives, named Mwindo, incidentally unlucky wife number 7, so do with that information what you will.
Okay.
She gave birth to a baby son named Mwindo.
And then she dressed him up as a girl and said it was a girl.
No. Now, even Mwindo's pregnancy was strange. While all 6 of the chief's other wives fell pregnant at exactly the same time and gave birth at the same time.
Oh, this guy's timing.
Mwido's pregnancy was more drawn out, and in the meantime, she found that her household chores were mysteriously getting done without her intervention.
Interesting.
So, spoiler alert, this was not due to her caring and doting husband. It was actually done by her superpowered unborn son.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
he's doing chores from the womb.
Yep, in utero.
I want a child like that.
Even weirder, when Mwindo finally popped out, he decided to forego the usual birth canal and instead emerged from his mother's middle finger.
What the?
Which
was a huge fuck you to
exactly. It's so symbolic. Mwindo also brought with him from the depths of Mwindo's apparently truly spacious uterus a conga scepter, an Azde axe, and a bag containing a rope gifted by the fortune goddess Kahonbo.
Okay, when did those get in there?
Apparently his dad has got some funky sperm.
Conception was wild, right?
It's kind of like Theseus getting gifts from the god, but in the womb. So unfortunately, none of this was particularly inconspicuous, as you can imagine, so Mwindo quickly got wind of this son. And he embarks on a full-on murder escapade.
Oh god.
He initially throws 7 spears at this kid,
What the fuck?
who expertly deflects them with his conga scepter.
Wait, a newborn. The newborn child.
Yeah, the newborn kid.
Okay, cool.
Then Mwindo tries to bury his own son alive, but Mwindo just climbs out of the grave during the night. And eventually, Mwindo gets really creative, and he seals his kid in a drum, then yeets him into a river.
Okay.
Like Moses style, but like, die! Instead of, I hope you go safely to a better place.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, this kid is like pulling some Harry Potter shit, because apparently he's impossible to fucking kill. Yay! Dads. Deciding that Home Sweet Home was really not that sweet, Mwindo floated off to his paternal aunt in Nyangura. And along the way, he had all sorts of adventures, but like I'm fast forwarding through that, and I'm gonna go to Mwindo's eventual return to Tabondo.
I was like, he had adventures, still a toddler.
Yeah. Like he essentially grew up on the river, because the next time we see him, he's like a man or something.
He just like spends some time wrestling some animals. He's 2 years old.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're interested in those adventures, you should definitely look it up on Wikipedia. It's quite a wild ride. But I mean, this guy's whole life is a wild ride. So.
Yeah.
So his aunt equips him with a slew of warriors and persuades Mwindo to visit the home of her brothers, the Banyana, a race of bat gods.
Okay, this is getting trippy.
Yes, I did say bat gods. The Banyana either forge him full body armor, or they cut him into pieces and then reforge him as a man of iron.
What now?
Yeah, I've heard it both ways, so literally just pick the one that you find more funky.
Definitely the one where he gets cut up. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that's my favorite as well.
Mm-mm.
Mwindo's uncles also join him in the journey back to Tabondo, presumably to help whop his dad's ass.
Why does nobody else like? I mean, like, these are his siblings, right?
I think they know that he's an asshole. So now it turns out the conga scepter is good for something other than deflecting spears, since Mwindo also uses it to magically conjure food for his entire army.
Cool.
He and his aunt then kick back while his uncles and warrior bros go on to make war against Mwindo.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, Mwindo pretty much pwns Mwindo's army, and only one of his uncles escapes to tell Mwindo and Nyangura the news.
Wow, useless.
Mwindo then decides to stroll into the village himself and call upon the help of the lightning god Nkuba. Nkuba obliges spectacularly by sending down 7 lightning bolts, there's that number again, that obliterates the entire village.
You mean all the people?
Yeah, it literally kills everyone.
Do we want that?
Yeah, I have to say, at this point when I read this, I was like, my dude, did you at least get your mother out of the village before you raised it to the ground?
I was like, why couldn't they just be more specific and direct the 7 lightning bolts onto his father?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
exactly, his father and his army. I mean,
someone else have to suffer.
like, what about his 6 half-sisters?
I mean, I guess he gives 0 craps.
I mean, they didn't do anything. Anyway, to make matters worse, Mwindo is the only person who doesn't die. He actually escapes by uprooting a kikota plant and jumps into the resulting hole, which also casually becomes an entrance to the underworld, where the other Nyanga gods reside.
Cool. He just rips up a whole tree and then just like goes in.
Well, it's a plant. I'm not sure it was actually a tree.
Oh, I see.
But it's more interesting to me that it's a portal to the underworld by complete coincidence. Was he just hiding it there? Did he, like, plant this thing over it?
He probably knew about it, yeah. Maybe he was planning on, like, finally eating his son in there.
Yeah, why didn't he just lead with that? Anyway, Mwindo jumps after his dad, you know, just following in old Pop's footsteps, and lands in the mighty jungles of the underworld, which, according to the Nyanga, is made up of several caverns and luscious forests and things like that.
Sounds nice.
He journeys to the hut of Kahindo, the daughter of the god of the dead.
Oh.
And she's like, "What's up, handsome? Want to help me wash the sores from my bacterial infection in return for the skinny on my dad?"
Excuse me, what? That was less romantic than I thought it was going to be.
Not what you were expecting.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, she has this infection called yaws, which is some kind of spirochete bacterial infection.
Sexy.
Shame. I mean, she just has sores all over her back.
That seems rough for a daughter of a god.
Yeah, truly. So anyway, Mwindo is totally down with the plan, so Kahindo tells him not to accept food or drink from Muisa, her father, or risk being exiled to the underworld forever.
Okay.
Persephone style.
Right.
In return, Mwindo washes Kahindo's sores and she feels much better in the morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, Muisa admits that he is sheltering Mwindo and he offers to give the guy up if Mwindo can complete a task. which, as you might predict, is going to be something ridiculously difficult or impossible.
Excellent.
So this task happens to be one of agricultural proportions.
Alright.
He tells Mwindo that in order to get his father, he has to plant and harvest an entire banana forest within 24 hours.
It's all about the trees today.
It really is. Mwindo uses his powers to make the banana forest grow, but he's seen by a servant of Muisa, and then Muisa tries to foil Mwindo by strangling him with a cowrie shell belt.
Okay,
A cowrie shell belt.
I thought maybe he was just going to, like, I don't know, slowly poison the trees, but sure, let's go straight to strangulation.
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 But Mwindo smacks him over the head with his handy conga scepter, which is really, it's good for everything. I mean, he has like 2 other gifts and never uses them.
I've forgotten what those are.
The axe and the rope.
Oh.
After this, Muisa has the gall to ask him to complete yet another task in order to get his dad. This time, he needs him to obtain a bucket of honey from Muisa's honey tree.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind that all this time, Mwindo has been washing Kahindo's sores nightly, and she's improving in leaps and bounds.
Okay.
Mwindo drives off the bees with smoke, but finds the honey tree petrified. Luckily, he calls again on his pal Nkuba the lightning god, who strikes the tree with one of his handy bolts.
I wonder why this lightning god is so fond of him.
Yeah, Nkuba is like so tight with Mwindo. Once again, Mwindo is busted by a servant, and Muisa tries his old kill him with a cowrie belt technique.
Why doesn't he just tie up the servants? He has rope.
Yet again, Mwindo throws him over and then presents the death god with the honey. This time, Muisa just flat out refuses to hand over Mwindo since the chief has actually escaped back to the living world through another tunnel.
This whole time?
Exactly.
Little shit.
So, understandably, Mwindo just loses his shit at this point, and he beats Muisa literally flat, like into a pancake.
Wait, he beat the god of death?
Yep.
You can do that now?
You can do that.
Cool.
Then he follows his dad out of the underworld yet again.
Hey.
Mwindo tracks his dad to a cave, which is blocked by an enormous aardvark named Ntumba. Now, an aardvark is basically an anteater.
Yeah.
I think. So, Mwindo tries to get Ntumba to step aside, but after the aardvark refuses, he gets Nkuba, his handy pal, his man in the van, once again to blow up the cave, and this reveals Mwindo hiding behind the aardvark.
Sorry. I'm just like, this grown-ass man. Just like, check me out, fuck.
Mwindo runs off yet again.
Oh my god, why?
And as punishment, Mwindo curses Ntumba with elephantitis.
Okay, you know what, though? That's just mean.
So, yeah.
I mean, I know he's protecting the father and he shouldn't have been, but I mean, come on.
So, elephantitis, as you probably already know, it's a very painful swelling of limbs. Now, Mwindo then follows his dad to the Great Rift Valley, where Mwindo has somehow escaped into the sky.
Okay, but he's gonna be screwed because of lightning guy, right?
No, actually, this is the one time Kuba actually isn't needed.
Okay.
So, what happens is that Mwindo sees some children of the sky god playing nearby and asks them for help, which they agree to do in exchange for a snack.
Nice.
Because, you know, they're kids. They're like, give me sweeties.
I mean, I will do a lot for snacks, eh?
Mwindo brings the kids 12 giant bowls of food, which they quickly gobble up and then stack one upon the other to make a ladder to the sky.
How many bowls of food do they eat?
There's a lot of kids, okay? Also, very big bowls. They're giants.
Okay.
Mwindo climbs up to the sky god's village, where he gambles the sky god for his father.
Okay.
I mean, none of these people just want to give this asshole up. It's really annoying.
Yeah, they all want to get something out of him.
So, initially things go very poorly for Mwindo. He gambles away his cattle, his houses, even his own aunt.
You can't do it.
I'm like,
she has something to be bargaining
yeah,
with.
how are you gonna wager your aunt, ho?
Can you imagine what she would do when she found out?
Anyway, finally he actually throws his beloved Congo scepter into the pot.
No, there's a whole axe and rope.
I know, right? But this time he actually starts winning, and in short order he wins back his Congo scepter, his houses, his cattle, etc., etc.
His aunt.
His aunt. And also his father. Plus, to sweeten the pot, he actually wins the sky god's whole village.
Whoa, okay.
Then Mwindo is given to Mwindo in shackles. Finally. And in response, Mwindo returns the Sky God's village to him.
Okay, neat.
And I think this is actually where Mwindo really shows that he is a true hero, because he actually retraces his steps along his whole journey. And he cures Ntumba of elephantitis.
Oh.
He returns Muisa to his regular, non-flat shape.
Oh, so he stayed a pancake and just bounced back?
No.
I can't imagine we'd bounce back after a while.
Nope, beaten flat.
Okay.
And he even refuses the gift of Kahindo's hand in marriage, choosing instead to marry a human maiden. So he's like, no man, your daughter is not a prize to be given.
Yeah, I mean also he probably didn't want to live in the underworld.
That and he might have been really sick at this point of washing those sores.
Shame.
Although I assume she was actually healthy now at this point.
Mm.
Mwindo restores Tubondo to its former glory and becomes its benign and very wise ruler.
Mm-hmm.
He has his father sit at his left side so that he may watch his son rule better than he ever did for the rest of his days.
So passive aggressive.
Right? I mean, he doesn't kill his dad or anything. He's just like, here, just sit here and watch what a proper chief does.
Sure.
And that is the Mwindo epic of the Nyanga people.
Wow. That was good. That really was a whole epic tale.
Yeah, and I have actually, well, not really left out detail, but summarized things so much because there's so many things that Mwindo actually goes through.
Yeah.
And I think it would be so interesting to watch someone actually acting out this entire epic.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't understand the language, so that would be an issue, but I feel like knowing the story, you'd probably be able to follow along fairly well. Interestingly, my source today was only Wikipedia. It had a lot of information.
Wow, come
Yeah.
through Wiki.
For the original source, of course, you can go to the page on the Mwindo epic.
And perhaps Disney Plus will soon have a series on this epic.
Yeah, please, Disney, animate African tales.
Yeah, get on that.
And not the Lion King, not things that misrepresent both, animal social dynamics and the country in general. I mean, we don't even know which country the Lion King is set in.
It's Pride Rock.
I mean, a lot of the names are in Swahili, and there's the Rift Valley, so I guess it's Kenya or Tanzania.
Yeah, it's a bit vague though.
Yeah. But anyway.
That was a great tale.
Yeah, that's a story of, Mwindo's dickish father. So, as usual, if you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe to us, leave us a review on Podchaser or Apple Podcasts, depending on what your favorite platform is. And follow us on Twitter, LegendaryPod1, and on Instagram at LegendaryPod.
Nice. And until then...
Oh, wait, before
then.
we sign out, I just wanted to let you guys know that we have some really exciting collaborations coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have interviews. We're going to have other South African podcasts on the show. So look out for that. I'm really excited about it, and we can't wait to bring you more content.
Yeah, you'll see all the updates on social media.
Also, keep an eye on our YouTube channel. We're going to have new content coming out soon.
Oh yeah, excited for that.
Absolutely. Now you can sign off, okay?
I mean, usually it's your thing, so go for it.
So, until next time, stay safe,
Stay sexy.
and stay legendary.
Bye.